Welcome back. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton filing a new lawsuit against the Biden administration, accusing the federal government of refusing to take custody of illegal immigrants after they are released from Texas prisons. This coming as Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas reportedly considers restarting construction of the southern border wall. This was the #1 priority of President Biden when he first came into office. Now we understand in order to close the gaps amid the growing surge of migrants, they're rethinking this. Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton joins me right now to talk more on all of this. AG Paxton, great to see you this morning. Thanks very much for being here. First, let's walk through your lawsuit. Tell us what you are accusing the government of doing and how it's impacting Texans.
So it's pretty simple. Texas and Louisiana, my friend Jeff Landry of the Attorney General of Louisiana, are filing a lawsuit against the federal government, arguing that they're not enforcing federal law, which requires that if Texas is holding a prisoner that has committed a felony, once they're released, the ICE is supposed to issue a detainer, and then they're supposed to deport these people. They've stopped issuing a lot of these detainers, and so these people are being released into the public after having committed felonies and other crimes in our states.
Unbelievable. So, I mean, have you gotten a response yet from the government? I understand that there are a lot of issues that you have that you have raised your hand about, from the XL pipeline to the border, obviously, to now this.
Yeah, no, so we've sent letters on various issues. We get no response. And so we're forced to file a lawsuit to bring attention to it and to try to stop what we think is illegal. We know is illegal, that they are not allowed to just let these people back into the country after they've committed crimes in our country. They have actually served time in our state prisons.
So have you heard back from the administration? What are they saying about this, General Paxton?
So we've gotten no response. So they will be forced to respond in court in the coming days. So I'm actually looking forward to hearing their justification for why felons and other criminals should be released that are already here illegally, why they should be released back into American space.
No, this is just extraordinary. You know, there's so many news items this morning. I mean, you've got the website for the Department of Homeland Security removing a press release that was put out earlier in the week. That press release announced the arrests of suspected terrorists at the southern border. General, you've talked about this with me before. This link to the release now goes to a page telling users access denied. So we know that not only are we seeing illegal immigration at the border, not only are we seeing COVID at the border come into America, but now we're seeing terrorists. I spoke earlier in the program with former DHS Acting Secretary Chad Wolf about this decision to block this press release. Here's what he said.
So these are known or suspected terrorists that are trying to come into the country, and they did that in the last 2 months. Why CBP decided to pull that press release down, I think, is very interesting. I think they should be celebrating this type of work. This is great work that law enforcement is doing, but it just underscores the fact that this is a very dangerous border and that we need Border Patrol officers on the line doing their job.
General.
Yeah, so I have a lot of respect for Chad Wolf. He did a great job in Homeland Security, and he's right. I mean, you mentioned already the increased crime, drugs, cartels, human trafficking, and now terrorism. And it's not surprising when you announce that the border is open, that we will not deport you, that you would find that terrorists might find an opportunity to come across the border. And what's even more shocking now, having potentially arrested some of these people, they don't want anybody to know that we have this problem.
And these, you know, illegals who have already committed crimes are roaming through our country, which is the basis of your lawsuit. I want to ask you about what else the fight is about in Texas, because Florida as well as Texas have raised your hands on censorship. So I thought it was interesting to see the Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas taking aim at big tech yesterday, saying companies like Facebook and Twitter have gotten too powerful after the platform suspended President Trump's accounts. The comments come as the Supreme Court dismissed a case alleging that President Trump violated the First Amendment after blocking users on social media. Ken, your reaction to what Justice Thomas is saying and what you're doing to fight the big tech dominance?
Well, I think he's absolutely right. In his dissent, he talks about basically 2 people at Google and 1 person at Facebook making decisions about what gets published. And that if 3 people in the United States can control what a president says, imagine what they can do to the rest of us. It is a serious issue. It is exactly why Texas has sued Google, and it is exactly why we're being sued by Twitter. These are huge companies. They have more money than most countries. They have tremendous power and the ability to hire lawyers and lobbyists and to contribute to campaigns. That's all allowed, but it gives them tremendous leverage on our culture, and it gives them the ability to control the narrative. And if we don't find a way to get control of this soon, they're going to control the entire narrative, and they're going to control speech in this country.
Well, it's also affecting the vote and our elections. I mean, let me get your take on voting in H.R. 1. Texas Governor Greg Abbott spoke out in an interview on Fox News yesterday saying that if Democrats pass H.R. 1, the state of Texas will move its election day in order to not coincide with federal elections. Your reaction to all of this around the Georgia law, CEOs getting involved, Major League Baseball getting involved, all so that the Democrats can have an easier time or convince the public that H.R. 1 is a fair piece of legislation. We know otherwise. We've looked at H.R. 1. There's absolutely nothing wrong with voter ID. In fact, I would say everybody should have an ID to vote. Mail-in balloting should not be the standard. We know it opens the door to fraud. So your reaction to what's taking place around H.R. 1 and this new upset over Georgia's law, obviously these CEOs could not have read the law.
Well, I am more concerned about H.R. 1. I think it's the most corrupt piece of legislation I've ever seen. It will create one-party rule in this country. It will move us more like a country like Venezuela because it will encourage more mail-in ballot. It will eliminate signature verification. It tries to eliminate voter ID, which is the only way we really know how to verify that you are who you say you are. And it's interesting that these companies like American Airlines and Delta and Coca-Cola that often require security in their places and require people to come up with photo ID then argue that somehow in elections that's a problem or that's suppressing the vote. It literally makes no sense. And it is very concerning to me that these companies are doing this in light of the fact that all we're trying to do is protect our elections and make sure that voters know that we have credible elections and that they can count on the results as being accurate.
So what do you think happened then? Do you think they didn't read the bill or they just got rolled over by the activists and mobs on the left?
I know for a fact that not all of them have read the bill because I know that our lieutenant governor talked to some of these companies and they called and he asked their CEO and their government relations people if they had read the Texas bills because we were passing election integrity bills here. And yeah, they hadn't read the bills. And so they're being encouraged by outside forces to comment on things that they don't understand and maybe not even disagree with if they actually read what the purpose of the bill is.
What a shame. Really a terrible shame. Ken Paxton, always a pleasure to see you. Thanks very much for fighting the good fight. We appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you. Have a great day.